So this is it. This is the weekend project. It's getting the VW flip badge camera into the back of the T4. And this opens up a whole can of worms of things that I need to think about in terms of how the hell this is going to work. So it now may make sense why I've got that Polo tailgate, because I'm going to cut the back of the tailgate off around the badge and splice that into the back of the T4 where the badge used to go. So it's going to go in the same place, but it's going to be very, very different in terms of how it fits and things. Okay, so to fit the badge into the back of the van, that's one thing. That's all of the welding, the mechanical, the filling and the spraying and all that lot to get this to go in. And that's a bit of a mission in itself. However, then you've got like how the part's going to connect, because this is just an electronic switch. Moving that handle out, I didn't realise, just flips a switch, which I can only imagine is this one. Instructions are all in complete Chinese. It's not an original part. It's a very good copy. We'll see how we get on with it, and if it's good then I'll share the link. If not, then I won't. So the T4 is purely mechanical. This is purely electronic. How am I going to merge this into the T4? So the first thing to do is to strip the tailgate. Holes are in the same place, but it fits. It's just 20 degrees to one side. Okay, so the camera fits into it, but it's about 15 degrees cockeyed to the side. But the most important thing is all of the fixings lines up beautifully, which is what I really needed. So now I'm going to chop all this out now. There's two skins there put together, and it looks like just panel seal, so that should be easy enough just to separate that. Okay, so we've got it down to its minimalistic bit now, so this is why I bought the tailgate, rather than trying to fabricate that part. So that clips in really nicely into there now. So that is how it's going to sit. So I think the easiest way of doing this is by cutting 8 sides, cutting it out. I'll have to probably rough cut that out just so the back that protrudes out there just goes through a hole first, which gets it sat flat against the back of the T4. I'll draw around it and then cut that out, and then I'll have a perfect match, won't I? a slight cock up with the angle of that. Now that I've put the badge in, you can see how that's slightly off, so bit annoying. Never mind. The depth between there and there is about 83 mil, and that is 90 mil. So I now need to sort out the back of that. Plus I think I'm gonna have to get the badge in from behind to put it on. So this is all welded in, and the badge has got to come in from back there. So I do need to get that out now. This bit's a right pain. Try to get the badge straight, but then the van's not sitting straight. First two lines that I drew in to get it level, I should have had the badge in, which I stupidly didn't do. So it meant then I had to kind of save the day at the end with it. So I've just about pulled off. So what I'm gonna do now is clean all this up and then grab the welder. I'm finished with welding and grinding now. That's pretty smooth, but that's pulled in and that's pulled in. So that's gonna get skimmed. The whole thing's obviously gonna get skimmed, but I'm gonna have to do that area there. I'm gonna do from here to here right across, and then that area there. But I'm gonna get some beers first. So the badge is physically fitting inside the door now. The welding work's all done for the badge itself. I've got a little bit of distortion in the panel and things that need sorting out with filler and things like that, but I've got a little bit more to think about, because this is effectively three things. It's your badge, it's your camera, but it's also a form of opening the tailgate, which is purely electronic. It's just got a switch on there. I imagine it's probably a normally open contact or something on one of these cables. The mechanical part, well, the T4 is completely mechanical. There's no electronics to it, but I am fitting a central locking system. So there's a few more things to consider. Now, I could completely ignore the fact that it's a pull handle. However, it'd be quite kinky if I could make that work as well. So I could get rid of the existing handle at the minute and have the fancy new part as the means to open the boot. So if I fit a central locking system, it means I could connect the handle to my central locking system, but it's no good just always being connected to it, because otherwise you could just pull upon the handle and unlock the tailgate. You need for the handle to only be connected to the central locking system when the other doors are unlocked. Only now. Right, okay, so badge is in. I've got this bit. I've got to make a decision about what I'm doing here. It's also a little bit broken and stuff, so I need to sort that out. I need to sort out this distortion, which I was going to start filling in things, and then I'm thinking, do you know what? I don't need any mechanical means of opening the tailgate, so I'm going to get rid of it all. So I'll blank this off. That'll get filled up and then just flush like it was never there. I'm gonna weld all this up and then put the positions back in for those bolts that hold it in place. And I've got some fancy LED new fittings for the tail light. So those obviously will be kept. I'm gonna get rid of all this. I'm gonna weld that up. Let's have a look at the inside. So that is how it's looking on the inside. So obviously I've cut the back. I had to get rid of that to make space for the camera. Okay, so we've got a mechanical latch at the bottom, which normally has a rod coming up to the handle. I'm gonna get rid of all that. I'm gonna put a solenoid in place. Now, normally this would get fitted on the back of the panel there, right where the camera is, but there is no reason why it can't just drop down and go right there. So that's where I'm going to put it. And conveniently, there is already a hole just there which lines up with that, so it means that I've got like an access point where I can get through to make the connection for the rod. So from the outside, I'll press a remote control which will pop the tailgate open, and from the inside I'll have a electronic switch, probably maybe on the side or maybe even on the dashboard, so I can press a button on the dash and pop the tailgate open. And because of the forward thinking, I've got a cable for that. Now I think all my welding's done. So I'm going to give the whole door a really good degrease clean down and then start skimming the filler on. It's pretty slow progress. We're getting there. Still working on blocking down the first skim of filler. So I picked up a foam block so it goes around the contour of the back. I'll just keep blocking it down, filling it up, blocking it down, filling it up. It's taking bloody ages to block that first skim of filler down, and I've just finished it off with a bit of guide coat over the top of it and then blocked it, just finishing blocking it just to see where the lows are now. I'm going to skim those areas now which are still black, which are the low spots, I think I'll call it a night. So today's plan is to hopefully within the next hour or so finish off the filler work, get a little light spray of primer on it just to see what it's like, get the camera in, and then actually do some testing, see if the thing even works. Get the radio connected up to it and see what the angle and thing actually ends up looking like. Also, we'll see if we can get the solenoid for the central locking in and get that working if we can. Okay, so it's the Sunday afternoon now, and I've spent a couple of hours of filling and sanding and whatnot on the tailgate, and it's almost there now, sort of in the final stages. The last few skims of filler, taken 3 or 4 layers. Having a little play around with the camera system to see how this actually works, because the instructions are no use whatsoever. Not really surprised. So there are a few cables coming out the back of this, and we've got an obvious video which plugs into a rather unusual connector I've never seen before, but that we know is going to be power for our camera. We know that's going to be our video feed going to the back of our radio for our monitor or whatever. We've got a pretty obvious positive and negative with its own little fuse on there. So we've got it on a battery at the minute. What I've been having to play around with is this one over here. Now I did presume that this was going to be the switch for this, and it would appear that it is. So what I've done is I've actually cut that connector off the back of the old Polo, which conveniently plugged onto there, which meant then I could get my test leads conveniently onto that. So with no power on the camera, the first thing I did was put my test meter onto those, tried the handle, nothing. But then interestingly, put power to the camera, put power to the badge unit, and then flick that, and then you do get continuity. So it's kind of like, that's a very simple way of engaging or disengaging the output from that, isn't it, by removing power? That's simple enough. Then the last thing is this. That's just got rear on it. Now it's only a short wire, and so it can only be that goes onto the reversing light. Now everything's a common negative return, so I'm like, right, I'll go for positive. Watch this. Hey, how cool's that? Stays out for about 15 seconds. So I've removed power off that, so it's always got power to it, and you give it basically a pulsed positive input, and it motors out. I bloody love it. I could do that all day. And then there's a drain there, so inside the box there's a bit of rubber pipe about that long, which you'll push on there and goes to the bottom of the tailgate. Obviously it's not long enough, so what I'll do is I'll find some rubber tubing now, which I can use to go on the bottom of there. So I need to find something that plugs onto that. It'll go down inside the tailgate, and I'll put a hole in the bottom of the tailgate and put the rubber bung bit at the bottom, so it's got water drainage then through the tailgate and out. Right, carry on.
Nothing shows imperfections in bodywork quite like a bit of paint.
So it's about 95% there now. So for the purposes of getting this sort of camera element of it and the handle and sort of stuff finished today, so I can get this video out to you, I'm going to carry on. But as for like the little imperfections and things like in here, all those little bits and pieces, because that primer's now identified it, I can go ahead and do that next week. But it's pretty much there. Quite happy with that. So what I'll do now is get the camera put in there, put this piece of plastic trim on, see how things are looking. Hopefully everything looks all right, and we'll have a look at probably just the central locking solenoid, see if I can maybe get that working and get the handle connected to that. Have a look at it on the camera, have a look at the camera on the monitor, which I've not even done yet. and then go from there. Right, let's have a quick think about what was left to do. So, I've got to put that drain pipe in. Well, I could get that done later. You know about it. What I really want to do is get this video out today. So, get the solenoid in the door. Get that working with the latch. When I put power to it. Probably won't bother with the central locking system just yet. I'll just stick it on a battery or something like that and get it to pop. It's a 12 volt input. Either way around, 12 volts the right way around, we'll pull that in. Then, if we can get that working, I can have a look back at that connection that's going on inside the handle, so that when you apply power to the handle, it makes continuity through those cables when you pull the handle. Let's see if we can get that working, and if I know that bit works, then I'll know how to connect it to the central locking system when that finally goes in, which will be another video. Oh, and then I need to go and find a radio. I've got a selection of different old broken bits of radios. Might end up getting a new one, or doing the double DIN conversion. I've got a double DIN, but I'm a bit skeptical about whether it's going to work on that dashboard or not. So like I said, if anyone has done it and knows about it, just give us a bit of a heads up on how to go about what bits to look for. Right, let's crack on. So I think we've got a really simple solution to this. Simple solutions, that's what I need to go for. Nasty, horrible latch. I'll clean that up. That gets bolted in the bottom of the door, and it's just a simple case of pulling up on that part there, releases the catch. So the kit does come with rods, but I've already got a pre-made rod, haven't I? All I need to do is cut this to the right length, put a hook in it, put the hook through there, get that in the door, put it through, hook it through, pull that tight so it's extended, mark it, drill it, bolt it in, done. Crack on. So far has gone to plan pretty quickly. So I've just made a short hoop of the original rod, and then connected that to the latch, connected it to my solenoid, and I've pulled it not super tight because obviously I don't want it so it's always pulling pressure on the latch. I want a little bit of movement there, so but I've hopefully marked this out just right so that the there it is, so that the solenoid has got a little bit more movement in it, a bit more pull than the latch requires, so that I know it should be alright. Crazy with them. The good thing is that's worked out really nicely actually for where that's gone. Okay, so there's going to be poppers. There's going to be a pair of poppers on either side, which are going to be heavy duty springs pushing the tailgate. So if I put my foot against the door, putting pressure on it, and then put them on. Boom. That works beautifully. I've hit a bit of a snag. So what I'm trying to do is get the handle when you pull that badge up, for it to unlock the latch So what I've done is I've put power from a battery to a fuse, through the fuse to the badge, then from the badge onto the lock, and then common negative return back to the battery. I've applied power to the badge because before, when there was no power to the badge, there was no continuity there. So it was power to the badge, and then also and then pull the badge, then nothing. So I don't think this is a straightforward switch. There's more to it. Like, it talks to the car and then it does something, as opposed to just being a straightforward switch. Right, I found a workaround. So take that lead off that goes to the motor. I'll have to, I'll have to test if the motor and everything still works. Put power through a fuse to there with the plug that was taken off the tailgate. Common negative, and then power goes through to your lock. Common negative return down to your battery. Then boom, that just operated the latch. So if I make it so that the power that's supplied to that little micro switch inside the badge is somehow disconnected via a relay when the central locking system goes into the lock to unlock status, possibly, I'll have to look into that. And that's how I can then get that badge to operate properly, as it should. Let's just try the camera. No, that solves one problem, then creates another. So by unplugging that plug, you can put power through the switch to power the lock, but then the camera must use that switch to communicate what's going on. So the camera comes out, it actually comes out a little bit too far, and then when it goes to retract, it gets jammed. So I've had to plug that back in again. Hey, so we have, so I've got a little bit of a crude demonstration set up here with a radio. It's just on a battery. It's not connected all to the vehicle yet. I just obviously want to do some tests and see how things operate. So I'll show you what I've got so far. So the unit is fitted into the back of the door, and then I've just got a battery, some cables. I've just got an old radio here that does have a reversing camera input in it. I have faffed about these wires, doing different combinations of things, and I've sussed it. So the fundamental basics of it. We've got live on the badge at the minute. We've got a common negative on the other one. Then I've got a live that's already going through to the camera. Now that's a bit weird. I did think that surely could be a switched live. When you put it into reverse, you could put power through to the camera, but weirdly what happens is the badge comes out and then just stays out and doesn't retract. So we've got a permanent live on that, which is obviously switched from your radio, blah blah blah. What else have we got? Then we've got our video feed input off the badge to the back of the radio. The negative is done through the video feed. I think that's it. Let's see. So from the back of the radio now, I've got a positive, negative from the battery. I've also got the ACC on there as well, so it's on as if you've got the ignition on, so the radio's working. Then we've got the reversing input. That brown one goes to the reverse input of the radio. The blue one is my positive input to the badge. So pop that into reverse. Hear that? Show you what just happened. Little camera underneath. After about 10 seconds, after you've taken it out of reverse, it pops back again automatically. Let's have a look at the radio. Okay, so what we'll do is pop that back. So I'm going to put that into reverse. Yep. Oh, brilliant. This is the first time I've actually looked at how much I can actually see. So tow bar's dead center. I can see that bottom of the screen there sticking out. So it means I can back up right against things now instead of keep getting in and out, looking at how much space I've got behind me. And I'll tell you what, the angle of that's really good because I can see halfway up the garage door, so I can see a really long way behind me. There's a brilliant angle on that, and the quality of the picture looks good. I don't know if it's night vision or not, but obviously got reversing lights on, and I can always do some aftermarket lights as well on the back of the van. One other idea, there you go, I took it out reverse, that goes off, and in about 10 seconds time the camera will disappear and then it can't get any dirt on it, so it'll shoot back, shoots back, cover comes down, and then the lid comes down over the top so it can stay completely clean. So it's had the rear window wiper delete, that's gone. It's had the handle delete. These lines still need just blended in a bit better. It's not fully finished yet. I can see where there's like still little imperfections in it, but I want to get this video out. Flush that as well. Clean, that looks really clean. I've got some LED lights to go in here, not just a replacement bulb but a whole fitting. I'll show you those another time. Happy with that. That is a brilliant weekend's work done. Cheers guys.